Today we're going to look at kelp farms. We're going to have a look at 3 of them and we're going to determine which one is the best. Kelp is basically seaweed, and I hate seaweed in real life. I won't go to the beach because I just hate it. It's horrible. It sends shivers down my spine. Just won't go to the beach. That and the fact that I live in Australia, and in the beach we have killer sharks, we have killer jellyfish, we have killer octopus. If those squid in the background there were in Australia, they'd be killer squid. Everything in Australia, in the Australian water, has the word killer before it. But let's go and have a look at the 3 farms that I've got to show you today and try and work out which one of them is the best. So here we are at the first farm. Let's have a bit of a detailed look inside. There's not a lot going on. This design has been around forever. I think basically since kelp was introduced, people very quickly came up with this farm. Kelp is one of these plants that will just grow on anything. So it grows up here until the observers see them. When the observers see them grow in front of them, they activate the pistons and cut off the top 2 blocks. The kelp then floats up to the top into this water stream, which then goes down into the hopper to capture it. Now, I'm going to test this for an hour. With the help of Carpet Mod, I really just have to run one command. We can also see what it's up to up in the top here. So it's going to run for a simulated hour. And we're getting around mid 700s, I guess. Whilst that's doing that, you can see the sky flying around us. One of the problems we had early on, and it always annoyed me about these farms, was sometimes the kelp would grow past the observer for some reason. It would grow up to the top and turn this flowing water into source blocks, so it would sort of mess it up. No one seemed to come up with this brilliant idea of putting waterlogged signs in there, which sorts it all out. So this farm works well. Where are we up to? 37 minutes. I'll fast forward it up to the 60-minute mark. Okay, we're coming up to the 60-minute mark. And 747. So I'm going to do another 4 tests off camera and add 747 to it, and that will give us an average. So let's go and have a look at the second farm now. So here we are at the second farm. This one was originally seen by me on FibroWolf's channel. So I thought I'd include it just because it looks a little bit different than the others, but it is still basically the same principle. That the kelp grows up in front of the observers and the pistons knock it off at the knees. But this one looks a bit better because it's got the iron bars at front. So I expect this one will probably work very similar to the other ones. So let's just press the magic buttons. We'll start the test and we will log the colors. What are we getting? We've got 700 odd. But also these farms all have different number of plants in it. So I'm going to take that into effect up at the end when we look at the results. So let's quickly fast forward up to the 60-minute mark and see what this one produced. Okay, we're coming up to the 60-minute mark. 470 is what we got. Let's just turn around. None there, but you may have noticed in the little fast forwardy area that a couple of times some kelp got caught on the iron bars. That does seem to be a small problem. Not a huge amount is lost, I think, but you know, if you're going for 100%, you might give this one a miss. So now let's go and have a look at the third one. Okay, we're heading up to the third one. And as you can see, this is the big daddy of all the kelp farms. This is done by ilmango, so you can see it on his channel. In fact, it's just in the process of doing a run. So we can see how it works. It basically shoots off these flying machines that go through, knocking all the kelp up, and you know, it's being collected. So this one is, you know, pretty full on. Takes a little bit to get all the redstone right, and you know, it's not the easiest to build. but it's probably, we'll find out how good it is. I'm gonna have to wait for all this kelp to finish going through the system before I run the timer. Starting the test resets the counter, so don't worry about that. And basically this one, because it only gets triggered at dawn, so the daylight sensors only trigger it at dawn, we're not going to get anything, and then it's all going to shoot up quite quickly and then sit there. So we should go through 3 cycles, and looking at that middle number just after it ran, we're probably going to get around about 4,500 to 5,000 items per hour. So let's fast forward it up to the end and see what we get. Okay, we're doing our last run now. It's coming up to the hour. 4,121, I guess, will be the answer. There we go. All right, now I'm going to go off and do a few more calculations of this, and we'll see what the results look like. So let's have a look at the results for our 3 farms. The first farm we looked at had these 5 results, which gives us an average of 724 kelp per hour. And that farm has 102 plants in it. So the average per plant per hour for that farm is let's call it 7.1. So then we go look at the second one. The average for that one returned 455 kelp per hour. He only has 66 plants in him, so the average for that one is 6.89, so almost 6.9. The third one that we're sitting in at the moment and hoping we don't get taken out by a flying machine, it gave us all these, and it averaged 4,473 plants in the hour, and that has 658 plants in it, which gives us an average of 6.79, basically 6.8 plants per hour, kelp per plants per hour. So it's interesting because this bigger one is actually the least effective when you look at the number of plants that are sitting in it. So let's go and have a look at what would happen if we turned the bigger one, or scaled the first one up to have the same number of plants as what this one does. So here we are at the design, the basic design that the first farm was, but this one has 658 plants in it. It would have had 660, but I took these 2 away. So 658, and when I was building it, I forgot that water can only run 8 blocks, and I had to do some little trickery here to get it to continually flow, but we got it working in the end. It took a little while, but if you were not to make it so high and just make it longer, it's a lot easier to run. So now let's run the commands. So we'll start the test. There goes the test, and I've got to log that so we can see what's going on. So what did we have for the other one? I think we were average, or we got 4,400. So you can see that this one looks like it's going to get low 5,000s. So let me run it for the full hour and we'll see what we get. Okay, we're coming up to the hour. The other one averaged 4,470, and we got 5192, I think it was. I am just going to go and get my calculator out and let's work out the stats. Okay, here we are back again with the closest thing I could find that looks like a calculator. And here are the 5 tests that we did, and they total 26,445. That gives us an average of 5,289, and the average per plant per hour of 8.03. Now, that's almost 20% faster than the flying machine version. But the thing I can't really explain is, why is it better than the first one that we ran? It's basically the same mechanics, but it is like 1 plant, like it's almost, I don't know, probably 10% or something, maybe 12 or 13% better than the original. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but anyway, it's what happened. So that is the Kelp Farms. I think that although the flying machine ones look fancy and everything, don't really need them. Just build this up to the size that you need. And also, whilst I remember it, when you're using these in the real world, well, the real Minecraft world, the hoppers don't cope with the flying machine version as it was built. So it throws whatever it was, like 1,000 odd pieces of kelp at the hopper straight away, like in one hit, and it can't process that in an hour. So you would have to make it, the collection would have to be a bit cleverer. More clever, I don't know. And possibly the same for this one. I've not ever run this one without just having the block of wool for the carpet mod there. This one probably spreads itself over time, so this one might be okay with 1 or 2 hoppers, but you might need to just keep an eye on that as well. And also you're going to need quite a little smelting farm, the smelting array to turn them all into dried kelp, and then you're going to spend half your life turning it back into kelp blocks. But anyway, that's going to do me for this episode. One last thing. I have a world download. You'll find that down in the description. And I've also put the Litematica saved files. I don't know if that can be used in Schematica as well. But anyway, each of the farms here, so there'll be 4 of them. I'll probably call them orange, blue, white, and yellow. So this one's the yellow. You can tell by the color of the wool block that's sitting up there underneath the hopper. And if you need to, this might help you build them in your own world, but that will do me. Let me know what farms you want to see next, and I will create a video on them, and I'll see you in the next video.